Hello there, I'm Lloyd Evans. Welcome to the bunker. It's time for another voicemail. Today's voicemail is from an anonymous caller. Let's listen to what they have to say.
Hey, I'll start by saying that it's cool if you use this in recording, and I'll make this as quick as possible. But I'm from Australia, and I have been properly out, physically out, mentally out for like about 2 years now. But I've been physically out since I was a teenager. Um, Today's pretty prominent in Australia. We have a wartime holiday that's meant to serve respect to people that served in World War One and Two, and people that fought and died for this country. And obviously, as a young Jehovah's Witness, I was not allowed to be involved in these sorts of things because they're political and like encourage war and things like that. I just wanted to know what your take was on how one should approach this, or like another thing that's coming up is the election that I wasn't allowed to participate in when I was a Jehovah's Witness, and now suddenly I find myself having to participate in it. I still have a part of my brain that thinks of this particular holiday as being a bad thing, or being a thing that I shouldn't be interested in celebrating. But I feel like worse because of that, because that in itself is rooted in GW beliefs. I just wanted to know how you go from being a properly believing Jehovah's Witness to having to celebrate things like this holiday, or having to participate in elections. Like, how do you rewrite that train of thought? Thank you. That's it.
What a good question. Brilliant. Thank you so much for calling in with this. That's an interesting one. So, I guess we can talk about elections, we can talk about holidays, Christmas, Easter, we can talk about, I think the UK equivalent would probably be Remembrance Day, memorializing those who have fallen in military conflicts, etc. Here in Croatia, they have public holidays for the War of Independence and that kind of thing. Independence Day would be the American equivalent, 4th of July. So there are all of these holidays and celebrations and elections, referendums, whatever, that Jehovah's Witnesses aren't allowed to be involved in. You're just not allowed to be in any way participating in any of those things. And so when you get out of the organization, when you shed your cult ideology, it's kind of interesting to suddenly be in a position where you can decide for yourself what you want to celebrate or to what extent you want to be involved in politics. I found it quite interesting, your language, when you said having to. You feel like you have to be involved in the elections, or you have to be involved in Remembrance Day or whatever it's called. That's the only thing I would really take issue with, because the truth is you don't have to do anything, you know? Jehovah's Witnesses on the one hand say you absolutely must not do this, you are forbidden from doing this. It's not like on the other side in Satan's system, everyone's saying you absolutely have to do this. No one's saying that. You get to decide for yourself to what extent you are engaged in politics, to what extent you want to memorialize fallen soldiers, to what extent you want to be involved in Christmas, Easter, etc. You get to decide that for yourself. Speaking personally, I have quite strong political views. I quite enjoyed participating while I could in the elections in the UK. I think I've been out of the UK for so long now that I don't qualify to vote in future elections, I think. So, yeah, I think that's the case. I think I'd have to move back to the UK if I wanted to be involved in future elections. But even though it was a bit frustrating being involved in the elections, because for various reasons that I won't go into, first past the post system is terrible. Anyway, even though it was a frustrating experience, it still felt very liberating to be able to do something that was contributing to society in some way. To be, in a way, kind of a part of history, to have your say in some way. In an election, you're literally just one vote that by itself is neither here nor there, but collectively it obviously steers the direction of a country's politics and thus the course of history. So it's a significant thing, but I can relate to people who say, you know what, not for me. I'm just not interested. History will unravel however it unravels. My vote is not going to make a huge difference. I'll be a passenger, thank you. I'll be a spectator. And I don't, maybe for my own mental health, I don't want to get too invested politically in what's happening. I can understand people that take that position. So no one's compelled to vote. If you can vote, brilliant. If you don't want to vote, no problem. Same is true with with remembering fallen soldiers. I can imagine many pacifists don't like to be involved in doing that, in participating in Remembrance Day or any kind of military observances. And with the holidays, I celebrate Christmas because my view is that Christmas was stolen from the pagans by the Christians. So atheists are more than entitled to then steal it from the Christians. And when we think about Christmas, all of the really good bits have nothing really religious about them. And also the kids love it. So that's sort of why I celebrate Christmas. If I didn't have children, if it was just me by myself, or children weren't in the picture, I'm going to be honest, I probably wouldn't be that fussed about even Christmas. I'm certainly not fussed about Easter, because Easter, in my view, really is a religious holiday. There's no getting around that. However, whenever Jessica has some assignment at school to do something Easter related, she is going to do it with the rest of her class. I even took her on an Easter egg hunt locally that had been organised because I want her to be involved with other children and in the local culture. We live in a Catholic country, and as long as there's no indoctrination involved, I'm happy for her to be involved in Easter celebrations. My point is, you get to decide for yourself, now that you are, as you say, physically out, mentally out, you get to decide for yourself what you want to do. You don't have to do anything. There's no demands on you. And I think it would probably diminish your enjoyment in doing things if you did feel compelled. You're always going to enjoy it more, aren't you, if it's something that you feel passionately about. Maybe you do feel passionately about remembering fallen soldiers, or about politics, or about Christmas and Easter, in which case you're probably going to really, really enjoy doing those things. But if it's just not for you personally, again, no one's holding a gun to your head and saying you'd better be involved in these things. I hope that makes some sense. It feels like an overly simplistic answer, but that's the only answer I really have for you. You are in control now. You no longer have a cult telling you what to think or telling you what your opinion should be or what you're allowed to participate in. As long as something is legal and not abusive towards other people, go ahead, do it, you know? That's what being free and living without cult control is all about. So I hope you found my answer to your question, your excellent question, useful. If you would like to leave a voicemail, the thing to do is go to speakpipe.com/Cedars, remembering to indicate clearly if you don't want me to broadcast your message on this channel. But that's about all I have time for. Thank you so much for watching.